Hello, and welcome to Love in the Time of Hydra, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. Today, we're taking it back to March 17th, 2015, St. Patty's Day. For what feels like the millionth week in a row, Uptown Funk was the top song in the US. And the top movie at the domestic box office was Cinderella, which featured Agent Carter herself, Haley Atwell, as Cinderella's dead mother. It was rumored that Apple was going to start, quote, their own TV service. Maybe they'll catch DJ Walkman in something down the line. Star Wars actor John Boyega turned 23. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 star Kurt Russell turned 64. And Gary Sinise, who, among other things, was the Smithsonian narrator in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, turned 60. But obviously, the most important thing that happened on March 17th, 10 years ago, was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 episode, One of Us, aired on ABC at 9/8 Central. Hello. I'm Jamie Drack, and I'm here with my co-host, boyfriend, and level 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, Tony Paletto. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everyone who's listening and watching along. Thank you so much for being here. We have a really cool episode.
Oh, yeah, we do. We got a great guest today. He's a fight choreographer, stunt performer, actor. He's got a crazy amount of credits. I'm just going to shoot some off. Sicario, Supergirl, Westworld, American Horror Story, Black Knight, Lightning, Doom Patrol, The Mandalorian, Blue Beetle, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Way Home. Oh, I budged that one. And Hulk. But we have him here today because, in my opinion, his coolest credit was playing Francis Noche in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Geo Corvera is here, everybody.
Woo!
Yeah!
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, your filmography is a mouthful, man. Like, you have some epic credits.
Yeah, I've been blessed, man. I just turned in February 25 years of being in this business.
Oh,
wow.
Man. That's cool.
Incredible. I have so many things I want to ask you today about this episode. We want to talk a little bit about you first, let the audience get to know you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I feel like before we get started, though, Tony, do you want to tell Geo and the chat how we run the show?
Oh, yeah, guys. So just don't spoil anything. I'm watching this show for the very first time. Jamie's seen it an inordinate amount of times. So if you're going to say anything spoilery that pertains to an episode beyond the one we're talking about today, just tag spoiler alert in the chat, in your comments. And that protects people like me from having the show ruined for them. Thank you so much.
Pretty easy, I think.
Yep.
Right. So, Gio, you said you've been in the business for 25 years. I know that you got into martial arts at a really young age. How did that evolve into you getting into Hollywood?
Well, I saw a Bruce Lee movie and Ninja Turtles when I was like 7 years old, and I said I wanted to be Bruce Lee or Ninja Turtles, in movies. I grew up in Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. And of course, that kind of the entertainment business is not big out there. I just knew one day I wanted to be in Hollywood and do movies. And my dad put me in martial arts. So I started doing martial arts when I was a kid, traveling, competing. Back in 2000, a friend of mine, Arnold Chan, who's also a stunt performer, stunt coordinator, he moved out there and he basically, convinced me, hey, you always wanted to be in movies. Let's move to LA, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest is history.
Awesome. That's so cool. So, I mean, first of all, you've worked on a lot of MCU projects. And since we're talking Marvel here, your first was Iron Man. So once you get your foot in the door with something like Iron Man, are you basically just on a list to keep coming back? Because you keep coming back.
I don't know if I'm on the list, but definitely, at least the stunt community is big but small at the same time. So once somebody knows you, and the word gets around, oh, this stunt performer is really good, very talented, a driver, a fire person, martial artist, and if they're able to use you, then they hire you.
Cool. That's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously have to ask if you're a Marvel fan. What is your history with Marvel? Do you love the movies? Did you read the comics? It's okay if the answer's no.
I'll be honest. I didn't grow up watching any of the superhero movies. Superman. I mean, sorry, I said Superman. Any of the DC or Marvel stuff. But I do have. I'll be honest. When I was like 9 years old, a friend of mine gave me a comic book, The Punisher. And then I was like, oh, I love the Punisher. He's my favorite superhero, or whatever. But
Superhero,
yeah, yeah, right, superhero. But no, I really didn't really get into it until I started working into in the all the superhero movies, and of course, I got to watch them, then and stuff. So, but yeah, not growing up, I wasn't really like a fan.
Cool. Knowing you now for 10 minutes, I can say that you and Tony should be best friends because you like all the same things.
I fucking
Oh,
love
really?
Turtles. I love the Turtles, and I love Punisher. Like we got a lot that we
Oh,
can
that's
hang.
funny. That's cool. That's funny.
So you working on Iron Man, you've literally seen the MCU from the beginning, and then
Mhm.
you all the way to now, like No Way Home, She-Hulk. Can you talk a little bit about how much it's progressed from your point of view, from stunts, from being on set?
What do you mean, like the action and stuff, or
Well,
just?
has it changed? Is it the scale different? Have you, or does it feel the same as it did back in 2008?
I'll be honest. No, it doesn't really seem different. I feel maybe like the graphics and stuff have changed. Because of technology, so they're able to use more computerized things, to make the movie easier or safer, at least for stunts. But overall, at least with the stunts, it's still kind of the same.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I had to ask you when we looked when I knew you were going to come on the show. I wanted to look you up and see if I'd seen you in anything else, and I realized that I had in one of your earliest acting roles, and I was like, oh, I got to check this out again. So last night I rewatched Harsh Times,
Oh, harsh.
which I hadn't seen that in years, man. And I
Yeah.
was like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And then I see you, and you're getting in a serious fucking scrap with Christian Bale and
Christian Bale.
Freddie Rodriguez, and so like, what was it like to like kick Batman's ass before he was Batman?
Right. It was definitely fun. I mean, I had to audition for it. It was like a stunt acting kind
Yeah,
of role. So they had me say some lines, but also I had to perform in front of them. And I don't know, the director really liked my look, I guess, and I was picked. And actually, in that scene, everyone they're all actors. I'm kind of like more of a stunt performer, and then got into the acting after.
yeah.
So it was pretty funny because everybody kept getting hurt because a lot of times they don't know how to make like a fake punch or a fake kick. So everyone was
Mm.
getting. It was pretty funny, pretty hurt. Working with I already knew Freddie Rodriguez. I actually used to teach his kids martial arts.
No way.
Before I worked with him, yeah, and before we worked together on that movie. So already, had talked to him and met him and things like that. So it was cool to work with him. Christian Bale, first time working with him, it was like an honor because I love a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes the actors they kind of get really into the fights, and sometimes you have to be careful and they might clock you. So yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
Christian
a little
Bale, like
scary sometimes.
he punches you in the nuts in that fight. Like, did you get through that okay?
Actually, he didn't really punch me. Of course, it was
All
all
right.
fake. But he actually did end up getting me on my throat because the fight gets a little messy. And of course, we
Yeah.
did it like multiple times. And at one point, he got me on my throat. But of course, it was an accident, And actually, I confronted him, and I was nervous, because like I had heard stories and things, working with him. So I kind of walked in. I'm like, hey, I'm walking like this and kind of stumbling my words, all nervous. Hey, Christian, that last scene, you kind of like got me in the throat, I thought he was going to go off on me, but he like, oh, no way. I'm sorry, bro. Did I really get you? I mean, are you right? That like, whatever. And then he was like, one of my ex-military friends showed me this one move and and I had to try it. And I'm like, yeah, those guys kill people, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fake. But he was really cool about it. He's like, I won't do it anymore. And I'm like, no, you can do it. I said, you just gotta, let me know what you're gonna do. Cause it was like a
Yeah.
move that we hadn't choreographed.
Yeah. Yeah. You
So
need to practice
yeah.
that shit. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
That's
But definitely overall it was cool to work with both of those guys. They're very talented, So yeah, it was fun. It was a fun
cool,
Oh,
project.
man.
that's awesome. I'm so glad Tony revisited that movie because that was a good story. Getting back to Marvel, so this episode of Agents of Shield was not your first Agents of Shield experience. You also
No.
did stunts in the second episode of the show.
Yeah.
Was it a kind of a is it totally different when you're just doing stunts versus acting and stunts, being on the Agents of Shield set? Do you remember it? I know it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I just did a podcast, actually two, like in the last 2 weeks, and of course I get asked the same questions and stuff, you know. So the stories, I still remember them like it was yesterday. So when I do stunts and of course stunt acting, besides having to say lines, I'll be honest, I feel the same, you know, the same performance and whatnot. But I have to tell you. I almost didn't go to the audition. I just finished working on Ant-Man in Atlanta for like 2 months, and then I think it was like the first week of December when I came back to LA, and my agent calls me and she's like, "Hey, I want you to go read for this show, Agents of Shields." And I was like, "Oh, we're getting closer to the holidays. I just got back, you know, being out of town for 2 months. You know, I just want to chill and get ready for the holidays, basically." And she kept pushing me, "No, no, go. I want you to go read for this project." I'm like, okay, whatever. And I went to the audition, and of course I ended up booking it. But which is funny too, though, because you know when you go to auditions, they usually by 1 or 2 days they'll call you if you have the part. You know, by 3 days or so, usually that means if you don't get a phone call by 3 days, that means you didn't get the part. 2 weeks went by. I didn't hear nothing
Wow.
back from the show, so I'm thinking, oh, you know, I didn't get it. Just move on, whatever. I get the phone call. And then they're like, this is, you know, production from Agents of Shield, blah, blah. They're giving me like the dates to work. And they asked me if I was available. I said, yeah. But then I go, hold on. I did an audition for you guys about 2 weeks ago, an acting audition. Is this for that? He's like, yeah, you booked the part. Oh, sure. You know, whatever. I was all excited because I thought it was more like a stunt job, you know, separate
Yeah.
from what I ended up getting. So, yeah, it was pretty funny how I got the part, you know.
That's
That's
great.
awesome. I
Yeah.
have people in the comments trying to clock what you did in the first episode in the episode 2.
Mm.
Were you on the bus at all? Do you remember the plane when people are getting sucked out the window? Okay, all right. Well, I
No,
should have rewatched that one.
the other episode that I worked on, it was a military scene where a bunch of us coming through, and just like a big shootout, you know, with like an army and then just like some of the other agents and stuff. We were like out in the jungle kind of scene.
Oh,
But
right.
yeah, we just pull up in the military trucks, get out, and then just start doing this big shootout, getting shot at, people dying, you know, that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I
Cool.
know exactly the scene you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
remember now.
Yeah.
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 So in this episode, you don't speak at all, but you're so menacing, which is great, and your performance is awesome. Uh, Francis is not a comic character; he was totally created for this episode. So, do you
Mm.
remember how he was described in the script?
Yeah. I was like actually trying to look up when I got the project, you know, because sometimes they have like the other characters before they become superheroes or powerful or whatever their thing is. They're a regular person. So I was trying to find out if Francis Noches was one. And
Yeah,
I thought that it was the Punisher. I thought his name was like Francis or something, you know. But I could be
Francis.
wrong.
Punisher's Frank Castle's original name was Francis Castigliano. Um,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
thought it was that character, which is funny because remember I told you my friend gave me a comic book of
Mhm.
the Punisher when I was 9, and then playing this role. So I kind of like put those two together. I'm like, oh, that's Francis Noches is the Punisher. I don't know,
Latin
and like
Punisher. Let's go.
yeah, you know. So I thought that was the thing, but the way that they describe me, of course, you know, Agents of Shields has they get a lot of people, and they do like what do you call it, like projects on them, or like testing things out, you know. Well, with my character, apparently they pump them up with like steroids or something, you know.
Right.
So that's how he becomes like really strong, and that's his thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shoot my shot with this question because and if you can't answer it, I'm sure you signed the thickest NDA in the world. But I saw on your IMDb page that you worked on the new Superman.
Yeah, it's coming out actually June this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tease
We shot
anything?
that. Well, of course. So real quick, as a stunt performer, a lot of times you'll see me on screen, kind of like the Francis Noche character. Of course, Francis Noche is more of a character for the show. When I do stunts, I always play myself, so you actually see me in these movies. I just don't talk. I come out running and get shot or get beat up, or actually gotten good at dying. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
so that's what I tell people, and they're like, when they ask me, "What do you do in movies?" I say, "I die really good." You know, I got to be a professional at dying. So, yeah, it's like same thing like military stuff and like big shootouts. Not gonna
Yeah.
say too much, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
coming out this June. We shot it actually, yeah, last June I want to say, or yeah, something like that, about
Yeah.
a year ago. Yeah, so
that's
excited
awesome.
about to see that one.
I can't wait.
We're
Yeah.
pumped. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we dive into the episode, do you have a personal favorite on-screen fight that you've gotten to participate in?
Actually, it's between two. Okay,
Okay.
and they both are have their little reasons. Okay, my first movie I ever booked, big movie, was The Rundown with The Rock, the jungle scene, all the little guys fighting The Rock, of course, because it was my first big feature ever. And we got nominated, we won awards in the Tourist Stunt Awards and also MTV Awards for Best Fight Scene. So that was a cool one, of course, fighting with The Rock and just the action, that was in that scene was really cool. But then, of course, the Agents of Shields, you know.
I love that. That's number two. I'll take it.
Yeah, well,
We're
I
gonna
mean,
get
it's not
we're
like
gonna
number
get to it.
two. I'm just telling you, it's like the same, so it's kind of hard. The Matt Mullins was the fight choreographer, so he choreographed the fight. And then I got to do the fight. The stunt double, Tara Mackins, she's really badass. Also, we put this fight together, and it turned out great. I like how they really combine. My specialty, which was, I'm really strong type of guy, and like bum rushing her,
Yeah.
breaking the helmet when she swung it at me, things like that. Which actually, by the way, real quick stories I just thought about. I'm gonna throw some secrets over there. They gave me a brass knuckles. When she swings the helmet. Well, they were kind of big, okay, on me, so they kept sliding. So of course I'm in the zone, my character being strong, and I'm about to break this helmet. Just FYI, the helmet it's already cracked a little bit.
Yeah.
She swings it, the brass knuckles slide down, so they're not on my knuckles anymore, they're here. So I actually ended up punching it with with my own fist, and like I told you, I was in that zone, so I swung hard. Okay, so I hit it, blood everywhere.
Oh,
you
Oh,
know yeah.
brutal.
So because
Brutal.
I swear, I swung it hard.
And I'm sure you didn't even did you even notice at the time? Were you just like pumped up?
Yeah, because you're pumped up sometimes. Yeah, you're right. You don't feel it. And you're talking like, whoa, what in the
Yeah.
world? And then it's like blood everywhere because I actually punched the football helmet with my actual fist, you
Oh,
know?
that's brutal. Those things are hard. That
Yeah, oh,
sucks.
yeah, totally. Yeah. But
oh,
yeah.
I'm so I love that fight, and I'm gonna ask you a little bit more about it because now I want to talk a little bit and just dive into the episode because we also got to hear Tony's thoughts on this episode a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Since he
yeah.
hadn't seen it before. So the episode was written by Monica Owusu Breen and directed by our former guest of the show, Kevin Tancherone. And of our 8 main characters, Tony, did you notice Ward was not here again?
I did notice this time. Yeah, Ward has been out of the picture for a minute, and I am so unconcerned about it. I do not miss the man. I am though getting excited about when he finally does come back because I know he's up to something and he's been off screen doing his thing. I am excited to see how we get him back, like what's going to initiate his return. So I'm into that.
Mhm.
I also just want to shout out, there's so many good people in this episode. Like, in addition to Geo, Kyle MacLachlan is back, and he assembles so many people. We got the Sopranos, Drea De Matteo up in here, Rick Sarabia, Jeff Daniel Phillips, and then Blair Underwood is in this episode.
Yeah.
Through. Gio, do you remember what it was like working with this creepy group of Myth fans? Like, we're big Kyle MacLachlan fans. Like, we love him in this household.
Yeah, I mean the whole cast in that scene, of course, very talented, and I know they've been around for a long time too. You know, it was cool to work with Drea because from watching her on The Sopranos and stuff, that was really cool. It felt like I don't know, a lot of times I get to work with a lot of these actors. They've been around, and to me, at least my experience, I've been lucky that they're really cool, really nice. So they feel like old friends. So like you're picking up from when you left off, kind of feeling or whatever. Hey, how are you? How you been? Whatever. You just talk normal, and it just feels like friends hanging out, working. Like I said, they're all very, very talented. So it was good energy. It was nice
Oh,
working
I
with
love
all
to
of
hear
them.
that.
You know. Yeah,
That makes me
and then
happy.
of course I love Ming also. Actually it was funny because we did our Agents of Shields, and then I got to work with her on what was the other show she was on after that?
Mandalorian? Was
Yeah,
it Mandalorian?
Mandalorian. Okay,
Cool.
and we do another scene that I'm with her, and I hadn't seen her in a couple years, and then so I went up there, and then I introduced myself, and she like, Gio, I remember you. We did one of the best fights of action. I was like, oh my god, and she's like, let's get a picture together. I'm like, oh my god, like of course, but
Amazing.
because she also said that was one of her favorite fights, in the show. So I got to work with her on Mandalorian also, and she'll remember me. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, I love that.
Cool.
She's so sweet. Oh, she's the best.
Yeah.
So, Tony, I have to ask you, and what do you think of this episode?
Yeah. Well, honestly, my favorite thing about this episode is McLaughlin and his weird crew, including Geo. Like, the tone of this crew is so different than anything we've seen in this episode. There's just a really weird vibe, even with the music. Like when they're on screen, and like just the assembly of that team and this whole like diabolical plan. That was my favorite thing about it. I dug that, and we'll get to the cliffhangers because there's a couple of them at the end. But like,
Yeah.
favorite thing about the episode was like the villainous crew. I dug them a lot.
Like I said, like I always knew I wanted to get somebody. Like I had to have one of you in this episode in our show because I love this crew. It's such a unique one-off kind of episode that we don't get a lot in this show. We're like just this cool crew who, sad to say, we never see again. But like, it's such a fun one. Gio, we will not shame you if the answer is no. But have you watched all of Agents of Shield or just this episode? This one.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest. I mostly just I'll be honest. I don't really watch TV. So and that just goes with every show that's out there. I've seen one or two episodes here and there. But yeah, no, not the whole seasons.
That's great because it just means you're not going to spoil anything for Tony. We don't have to kick him out today. We don't. That just gives us more time with you. I assume you rewatched the episode though. Did you? How did it feel like 10 years later, giving this a once over?
I'll be honest. Because I recorded that episode, so I've seen it multiple times, shown it out to my friends. And then of course I have the fight in my Instagram, the fight with Ming. So I've seen it actually 1,000 times. So it wasn't like something new. Oh my god, I forgot about this. I haven't seen it in 10 years. But nah, like I said, it's one of my favorite projects to been part of. So yeah.
I love it. And you kick off the episode. So we start with Drea's character watching a movie, Coney Island, and you all show up, come in. So being in this episode from the jump, you have a lot of scenes. Do you remember what the shooting schedule was like in terms of, did you shoot in order? Or did you do the action heavy stuff first, last?
No, we shot in order, like you see the episode. Yeah, it was in order. The scene, I don't know if you remember. We were at the coffee shop, and he's telling us what the plan is and what's going to be. I don't know if you remember. He got angry and he broke the cup. Okay, I didn't know that he was gonna do that. So if you see my reaction, really jumping, okay, that was a real reaction. He scared me, you know. What the? Oh my god, you know, because he's like, Agents of Shield, and then he breaks the cup. Oh, yeah, that was a real reaction, you know.
That was presumably that was the director deliberately not telling you guys that the cup was going to shatter. I would think, right?
Probably to make us get a real reaction.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Next time, if we get Kevin back on the pod, we'll have to ask him that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So okay, Tony, I need your thoughts on Andrew. We meet May's ex-husband. You had a big reaction when we found out that's who he was.
Yeah.
What do you think of this character?
I like him a lot. It all made sense. Like, well, first of all, when she goes to meet him and he's at the top of the steps having a conversation with a guy and he says, "Excuse me," and he walks down the steps and he says, "It's been a long time." And the way May said, "Yeah," I was like, "Oh, they've had sex." Like, it just instantly, I was like, I could clock just the way she loaded up that line. I was like, oh, there's a huge romantic history here. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, what a good one line. And Ming Na Wen handed it to me like a history. So I was, yes, a romantic relationship, was very surprised that she had been married. And so it was fun to unravel that history over the course of the episode, and especially fun to watch all of the agents be so obsessed with May having been married. They're all like constantly commiserating and asking questions and speculating, and I thought that was really cute because that's how I felt about it. I was like, seriously, I have so many questions. You know?
I feel the same way. Gio, you don't have any scenes with Blair, so I'm assuming, did you ever get to meet him?
I met him on the shuttle drive to set.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and I guess you know one thing that I've noticed with a lot of actors, at least with him, he knew who I was. I don't know, meaning like he knew that I was on that scene and everything. He didn't know like Geo Corvera, stunt guy or something. But we're sitting in the shuttle van, and then he's like, "Geo, right?" And I said, "Yeah." I'm like, you know, he's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, to me, it's like me. Nice to meet you." You know.
That's cool.
So yeah, he said hi, and I'm thinking he had seen the call sheet or something, and he knew who I was. So
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Every story I hear about anyone involved with Agents of Shield is always the nicest thing, which is why we keep the fandom alive, because it's like, oh, here's another nice story about an actor who's been an Agent of Shield.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. We gotta talk about the RV and the first, when you pull up to like the mental institution. I love this little scene, but of course it's your big moment where you move those bars. So what were they made of? How much strength acting were you doing here?
All of it, 100% fake.
Yeah.
They're rubber. So actually, I don't know if you can tell. Some of my friends even asked me, why did I grab the bars like that? I grabbed it kind of like this, not really like a full grip, because I would barely touch them and they would start shaking.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
So they told me, he's like, dude, you got to go really slow and kind of grab it whatever certain way. And then, of course, you know, fake the whole thing. Yeah, they were rubber. They just kept shaking. And I was like, that's why if you watch it, my hand grip is a little funky. It's not like a normal grab.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
When everyone breaks in, and then later Colson and Bobby go there, and Bobby has a really cool fight with the character John Bruno. So did you, Gio, get to kind of sit back and watch any of the fights that you weren't in? No.
No, a lot of times when you're not in the scene, yeah, you can ask to stick around, but they actually try to clear the set, less people. They would mostly just send me back to my trailer and come get me when it was time for them to use me.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Along this, we find out we're gonna go to Wisconsin. There's I do want to mention, Tony, we're talking about how all the agents are reacting to Andrew's presence, and we obviously have to talk about the little Fitzsimmons moment where they almost have like kind of a rekindling, which is a word that Gemma uses. How did you feel about that scene?
It was hopeful, it was like for a moment, they have this, they're going through this hard time for a moment that wasn't on the front of their minds. You know what I mean? There was a subject they were talking about. For a moment, they kind of forgot that they were in this sort of long, quiet fight with each other. And it was really nice. It's hopeful.
Tony, I have to tell you, Jonathan, in the comments made fun of you because how did you instantly click that Andrew and May had a history, but you still didn't get that Sky was Quake?
I still didn't get what?
That Sky was Quake.
I guess her performance didn't tell me. Ming's performance communicated a romantic history. That's why.
Yeah. The earthquakes were not good enough.
No, they gave away nothing. Yeah.
A really funny moment is when Coulson and Bobby are like learning about these enhanced individuals, and we learn a little bit about Francis. We learned, that he was a mobster, and we learned that he's not very smart because God doesn't give with both hands. I have to know how you took that description and used it.
I thought it was funny, but what made it funnier. I have two kids, they're older, 21 and 24 now. But of course, this is 10 years ago. So they're younger, and they saw the episode, and it was funny because my daughter goes, "Dad, they say you were stupid."
They did. Yes, they did, children.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know, but
that's when you say that's how good of an actor I am.
Yeah. Just funny.
I feel like that's a great place to take our quick 30-second break. If you're watching and you're drinking in the middle of the day, fill up your drinks, go to the restroom. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back to Love in the Time of Hydra. We are here with Geo Corvera talking about One of Us, in which he plays Francis, the not very smart, very strong monster.
Right.
We talked a little bit about the diner scene, which it might be my favorite scene in the episode. The way you're all scrammed into the booth. I know you talked a little bit about the glass breaking. Do you remember how long it took to film that scene?
Oh man, honestly, it was a couple hours, and I'll tell you why. The breakfast was real, and of course, we could always try to pretend to eat it. I was actually eating it. After a while, oh my God, I got tired of it because we must have done it 20, 30 times. I kept eating the same eggs, over. They kept adding, more eggs. I'm like, same thing. I don't know. There was another scene. They kept giving me food. What was it in the RV? They kept giving me like a power bar kind of thing, and then I would only take like one or two bites, and then they give me a new one, and then again, and then give me a new one, and again. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I always think of in an early season of The Office, it's somebody's birthday, and they talk about how like they all had to eat so much cake, and I was like, what is the alternative? I don't know. Like, what do? You have to eat it.
A lot of the times you get a spit bucket, right? Like you chew in the scene, and you can. Yeah. So I would hope that Geo, they should have given you a bucket, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was hungry. I'm not gonna lie, but after a while, yeah, I didn't want it anymore. But yeah, you're right. Man. I should have said something.
All right, I'm gonna. I don't want anyone to start fighting, but I'm gonna bring it up. We learned that Hunter's favorite pizza is Hawaiian. I know this is a very controversial topic. Geo, what are your thoughts on Hawaiian pizza?
Actually, it was one of my favorites. If I did have to pick, type of pizza, pepperoni, cheese, whatever. Yeah, Hawaiian.
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Tony's a hater. Tony's
I'm
not
not a
fan.
hater. I'm just it's like I would if that was the pizza that somebody got, I would eat it. I don't think it's gross, but it's at the bottom of my list. It's at the bottom of my list. I'm
Oh,
more
gotcha.
interested in the grilled cheese that Colson made. I want to know what the
Uh,
secret ingredient is. That shit is bugging me because I'm like things are running through my mind. Like, what do you put in there that really brings it out? I'm like paprika. Maybe that's the thing, but I don't know. I want to know if Clark Gregg knows. That's what I want to know.
All right, if
So,
we have him back on, we'll ask Clark again. What is
yeah.
secret ingredient? For me, Hawaiian pizza is the only time I'll eat pineapple. I quite like it, but it's also not a go-to. I'm glad that we're all still here. We're all still friends.
Everybody's fine.
Nothing
We're
is,
cool.
no friendships are ruined. So all right, the big showdown at the high school. Sky's coming out. Cal's on the mic. Gosh, I just have to take a moment to really appreciate Kyle's performance.
I wrote
He's
DJ
doing so
McLaughlin on my notes here, and because I really love he's going for it, man.
much. And then everyone's doing so much. Clark Gregg, get that guy in the throat.
Yeah.
Like there's so much happening, and Geo,
Kind of like Christian Bale and
obviously-
Geo, like just
yeah, right.
you talked about the fight. You talked about working with Tara. Who have you worked with her on other things? Because I know she's huge in the stunt world.
Yeah, she is. I know I've worked with her a couple of times. I can't remember because it's been a while. But yeah, I've worked with her before. Like I said, she's very talented. Hard worker. She trains hard. So
cool.
Was there obviously you're working with her. What amount of Ming is in there though? Because it's the magic of TV. She remembered you, so I know you had to be in there a little bit with her.
yeah. Well, actually, we did everything except for the actual like impacts, like when I hit her, and she goes flying back, or the one part where I throw her over my head. That's all Tara. But the majority of the fight stuff, yeah, she did it with me. She was good. She picked up choreography really good. Of course, we had a couple of days rehearsing for it. But yeah, she did the majority of the fight stuff. But yeah, just like the bigger Rex, yeah, Tara came in for that.
Dude, I just want to say every time you charged, it was terrifying because you're like this.
Yeah.
It's like little tank, and you just go from like a standing still to just like an instant sprint, and I'm like, fuck. Like,
Yeah. That whole scene, and I loved how they put the music all intense, and I'm looking mean standing there, and of course she's walking up too. I thought it was perfect, man. I love the intro for both of us. Like it's about to go down. The way they set it up, So real quick with that scene. We're rehearsing, right? And like I said, Matt Mullins was a fight choreographer for that scene. And I hear him talking to the stunt coordinator, and I can't remember his name right now. It was the first time working for him, and so he didn't know me. So I hear them saying we have to get stunt doubles for all the actors. So I walked up and I said, "Hey, sir, I heard you guys are gonna get stunt doubles for everybody. Is it just mostly fight stuff? That my character is doing?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm actually a stunt performer. I grew up doing martial arts, gymnastics, and I said I can do my own stunts." And he's like, "Really?" And then I've known Matt Mullins, the fight choreographer for that scene. Since we're teenagers from martial arts. So I said, you can ask Matt, he knows me. And then of course, Matt backed me up. He's like, oh yeah, Geo, really badass martial artist, blah, 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 whatever. So he's like, okay, then you do your own stunts. So everybody else had stunt doubles except for me.
saving some money that day.
Right? Yeah.
What I'm learning about you, Gio, that I respect so deeply is that the way that you will speak up for yourself. Like you're going to tell Christian Bale, "Don't hit me in the throat again, please." You're going to make sure that they don't replace you. And that would have been so sad if you if you didn't get to do that fight. I'm so glad that you told him, "Hello, that's my job."
That's my thing. Yeah. I mean, that's my background. So anything that has to do with fighting, if it's, of course, I've gotten to do a lot of different things. Like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years. Um, Wires, fire gag, car hits, stair falls, you name it, but my specialty, like I said, because I've been doing this as a kid, is martial arts. So anything with fighting, uh, I'll do it in my sleep, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So
Are your kids into it at all?
say that again.
Are your kids into it at all?
Oh no, not at all. My son did it, I think, for like a month when he was like 5 years old. Oh my God, it was like pulling teeth. Yeah, it was hard for him. I wanted to my kids, to get into it, but I've never been the type of parent like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, So I would ask them, what do you want to do? Gymnastics. My son was into basketball and football. He played that since he was a kid. Both of my kids, because of their mom, they're more into music.
Oh, cool.
Like my daughter sings. My son, at at some point we ended up getting coaches for them, but self-taught guitar and drums. So yeah, music is in their blood.
Awesome, man.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Tony, we have to talk about the sky of it all of this episode because it's
Yeah.
obviously a big sky episode. Should we learn that she has her therapy? Andrew's trying to get all this stuff out of her, and we learned that she's not been suppressing her powers but putting them inward.
Yeah.
And now you had such a reaction when they said she had 75 hairline fractures. So I know you want to talk about this a bit.
For sure, yeah, because it's really bleak, and like the writing of the show is really doing a good job of making this something that has to be overcome. It is very, very urgent. When I was watching Blair Underwood have his sessions with her, I thought to myself at first, I was like, he's pushing her too hard, but then I was like, no, he's not, because this is like very, very urgent, and he has to cut through all the bullshit, and we have to get right into the seriousness of this problem. The fact that she suppressed her quake powers to such an extent that she quaked her own body is terrifying and bleak. So like she has like this hard road to hoe ahead of her. Like it's I'm concerned. I feel bad for this character.
Yeah, fair. Gio, I'm sure in your line of work you've had some injuries before. When you hear somebody says they have 75 hairline fractures, do you have any kind of like visceral response?
I've been lucky, man. I haven't really had any big injuries, a lot of bumps and bruises, of course. I mean, it comes with the job, Jackie Chan is a perfect example. He's broken almost every bone in his body. He got like, I think, a plate on his head, things like that. So it's part of it. As a stunt performer, I've always said I think there's something wrong with us, because I mean, who likes pain? Real quick story. I remember one of my first stunt jobs. I was still working at I don't know if you guys remember the music store Sam Goody's, and I was working at Sam Goody's, and I got called for a stunt job. And I tell the people that I was working with, oh, I booked this job, whatever, this TV show, and they were like all happy, right? And they're like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, oh, they're gonna tie me on a chair and they're gonna throw me against the wall. And they were like staring at me like, what? You're excited about that? Yeah, I was like, yeah, pumped up, So that's why I say I think there's something wrong with us, because we like pain. We get excited for the pain, the getting beat up,
Yeah.
So it comes with it, man. And I mean, we try to be, of course, as safe as possible. Accidents happen, knock on wood. I'm always alert, and stay on my toes on, especially, crazy stuff, explosions, things like that. So, I mean, this is fun, what we do, but we still got to be careful, because if you get hurt, you might be out a whole year, from recuperating and stuff. So, yeah, man, I've had actually even friends that have died in this business, and yeah, it's pretty crazy, but like I said, it comes with the business,
I feel like that's a great way. I would imagine no Academy members are listening to this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, but just in case, this is my plea. When are we adding a stunt category to the Oscars? Like,
Right?
come on. We're
Yeah.
adding casting next year. It's time. We need to get it in before Tom Cruise stops jumping out of helicopters.
Fucking A.
Like,
Right?
we gotta give that man an Oscar for that. So let's
Right?
we're putting it out into the universe.
Yeah, it's so crazy
Okay, so
about that. Yeah,
yeah, it's well overdue. One
big time.
important thing I want to talk about from the episode is the index difference. So
Mhm.
everyone in Geo's little crew, they're enhanced, they're man-made
Yes.
versus Sky and Raina who have something inside them. Tony, I'm sure that you kind of clocked this, but I was glad they kind of spelled it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're dealing with what, Inhumans now? Is that what we're calling it? I mean, is that
Are we?
is that the nature of it? I heard our previous guest drop that word, and I was like, I thought he was drawing reference to the show, and he was speaking more about the lore. But no, I think that's where we're at now. And that's what really gave it away for me, I guess, was this guy who's like Black Bolt, but not Black Bolt. You know what I mean? Like he speaks or screams and it kills you, you know? And I was like, that's not Black Bolt, but we're dealing with the same shit. So yeah, that was
He
interesting.
was enhanced. He was not born with that power. They make it
Oh,
clear
he was enhanced as well. All these dudes were enhanced. Okay, right.
Yes.
Well, nonetheless, that kind of helped me piece it together.
All right, Tony, I feel comfortable telling you that 2 episodes ago, before you knew what was happening, Fitz says to Sky, he goes, "That's inhuman."
Okay.
That was the word I was trying to get you to get.
Great.
I
Great. I got it. I finally caught up.
The chat's really excited. We also, let's see here. Okay, we do have to talk about, what do you think real Shield means?
Dude, I don't know. I'm really, this is one of my favorite cliffhangers because like I had said I don't think that that Bobby is doing anything like secretive, like to hurt the team. I just knew they had an ulterior mission, an ulterior motive, but the fact that there's now 2 shields, as far as I can tell, is very interesting. I can't wait. I'm really excited about that one. I don't know. You know, I'm not terrible at predicting things. I've just
right, but it's a podcast because I gotta ask you questions.
Yeah, well, I'm an innocent babe in the woods. We'll see. You know.
Fair. So Geo, as we talked about, sadly, we don't see this crew again. But in a way that makes it all the more special. But with so you don't have any spoilers, so it's okay. Where do you think Francis would be today? Do you think he'd be still locked up? Did he escape? Was he blipped?
I'm hoping that he's not doing steroids and things like that. He became a normal guy, you know, like a regular dad or something, you know, taking his kids to school or something. I don't know.
I love that. What a nice answer. Like, I would have gone the opposite direction. Like, oh, he's pure evil now. But
no,
he's just
yeah.
gonna go to PTA meetings.
That's
yeah,
Geo's
right.
canon. Francis is totally reformed and living a good life.
That's what I think. I don't know.
That's great.
That's what I would do. I'm just kidding.
Maybe he's taking some remedial classes, so he's a little less stupid.
Right.
Getting that GED.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about so much. Tony, was there anything from the episode that you wanted to mention that we didn't really talk about?
I wanted to. We've been gushing about Geo because he's dope, but like I loved Drea. She like, and this is like my biggest shame that I carry around as an Italian guy. I've never watched The Sopranos, and so like I live with this like my whole life, and it's really fucked up. But Drea, I don't know her, but I was just like instantly like she's an amazing actor because I love this moment where they took they released her fingers from those metallic gloves. And the way that made her feel, and she touched her face, and I was just like, oh, that's such a beautiful. That is what you would do, like what you know, to feel your fingers on your skin again was like. I just thought that was a really beautiful acting moment, and I wanted to shout it out because it was a cool choice. And I also liked when she walked out from behind the RV and said hi, and then went slap, and just slashed his teeth. I just thought as little as there was of her, I thought she was really, really good.
Totally. Yeah. I'll admit, I've only seen the first 3 seasons of Sopranos, so maybe our household needs to finally get on the Sopranos train.
Yeah,
Because it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. We should be
it is.
ashamed of ourselves.
I'm ashamed. Yeah.
Gio, was there anything else about this episode that you wanted to share or talk about, or a story, anything?
No, not really. I kind of told you guys a couple of the little secrets from the whole episode. Yeah, again, it was just a fun crew. Really happy and blessed that I got to be part of it. Yeah, it was an exciting one.
Amazing. Before we let everybody go, I do want to share a couple like little fun facts about this episode. The first being that Andrew, he works at the West Virginia campus of Culver University. The Virginia campus appeared in The Incredible Hulk, so there's a little bit of a connection there. So while Francis was created for the show, David Angar, aka the Screamer, first appeared in the comics in Daredevil 100 in 1973. So that the Screamer's been around forever. Whereas Carla Faye Gideon, Drea's character, made her debut in Daredevil Redemption #1 in 2005. So these are Daredevil characters basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, I want to see Geo on Daredevil Born Again. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
Get him in.
Jamal Duff, the actor who played John Bruno, who had that little scrap with Bobby, he played a SHIELD agent in Thor. So this is like another appearance in Marvel for him. And then Tony, you'll appreciate this. The title of the episode, One of Us, is a reference to the 1933 film Freaks, which we have on Criterion. I have yet to see it.
One of us.
Yeah. So I want to watch that movie now because we own it, and I like that. And of course, we have the art of the initiative that's been going on each week, where a poster is created. And this week the poster is by Declan Shalvey and Jordi Belair.
Check Geo out over here. Look at that little hole.
A little animated Geo in here. Geo, do you have this
a little
poster?
cartoon?
Have you seen this before, Geo?
Yeah, actually, they sent it to me.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. I'm so glad that you have this. Because it's really cool. That's a cool
It's a good one. That's one of the better ones we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yep.
Really dope. I want to shout out Kevin Novinsky on Instagram because he sent me all of these posters better quality than I've been finding them. So thank you. We appreciate everybody who helps us out.
Yes, thank you.
Geo, this has been such a pleasure. I loved hearing your stories. Thank you so much for being here. Where can the people find you? Plug your stuff.
Yeah, I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in Geo Corvera, and I should pop up all over social media. You can Google me. So, yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. And nice meeting you guys.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Tony, do you want to say some thank yous?
Yeah. So I'd like to say thank you to Stephanie at Eclectic Muses on socials for doing our artwork. And thank you to Ryan Mira of Yellow Pills at Yellow Pills Music on Instagram for doing our music. Thank you to our producer, Maria. Thank you, producer Maria.
You're welcome.
And once again, thank you to Geo, man. This was such a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Reminder to everyone to follow us at LitoPod on Instagram, Blue Sky, trying to wean out Twitter, like and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, all those places. Thanks to everyone who voted on our time change. It seems like 1 o'clock Pacific is the new time. People really overwhelmingly voted for that. So that for the foreseeable future, I guess we're at 1 o'clock. And next week's a big one, March 23rd. It's our namesake episode, Love in the Time of Hydra, the episode we named us after. I'm so sorry to the people who voted for 5. We really appreciate your support, whether it's live or listening later. Thanks again to Geo, and we'll see you guys next week.